Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, help us out and click subscribe to show your support. And if you are a YouTube user, make sure that you enable notifications so you get updated every time we upload a new episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. While you're at it, if you're sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video games, stop immediately and go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create your own wrestler, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users absolutely free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family and want your name in the shoutouts, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/ProWrestlingPodcast and sign up today. And for the month of February, any $25 contributor will co-host an episode of one of our Going Live episodes with me, and our $10 contributors of the month will be entered into a drawing to also co-host an episode of Going Live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm going to apologize in advance right off the bat. My voice a little off today. Going through one of those flus, man. It's just the way it is. I was going to get an episode up to you guys yesterday, but health would not permit that. Today, not a whole lot better, but I really felt the need, because there's so much to talk about, to get on here and get you guys an episode as soon as possible. Don't forget, we have our Greatest Wrestler of the Monday Night Wars tournament going on right now, round 3. You guys did a great job in round 2. Round 3 might be my favorite round of tournaments that we have ever had on this show. The matchups are insane. Great matches top to bottom. There's not one match on the card that I wouldn't kill to see. It's like the dream WrestleMania card of singles matches. So go to ProWrestling.com and cast your vote as soon as possible. Voting, as you know, for our tournament offerings typically run a week long. These will be open from now until next Wednesday night. By all means, get in there, get your votes in. And if, in addition to all that, if you have questions, comments, things you want me to talk about or address on the air, go to the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line. 267-642-1160. Give me your questions, your comments, anything you want me to talk about, and make sure you put your name in those questions so I can give you credit for your questions in the show themselves. And if you are listening live through the Spreaker app, by all means, click on the chat function so we can see that you're here. I see my buddy John, the sports guy, is here right now. Hey, John, always great to see you. Get in there. Get in that chat. If you put questions in, I can address them as soon as we go live. And if you are one of those people who's going to be joining the Patreon family, you know what? You get your name in the shout-outs, just like our buddy Harold in St. Louis. Harold and I, we have such great conversations, and he contributes so much to my designing of the show and everything else. So, as always, a special thanks to Harold. Thank you, buddy. You are amazing. I don't know if I could do some of the shows I do without his input. I really don't. He's such a helpful part of this show. Don't forget, if you are new to the Pro Wrestling Podcast, check out our homepage at ProWrestling.com, where you can preview all the topics and things we're going to discuss in each episode. So, tonight, as I said, voice is a little messed up, so I'll try to transition through things quickly. I want to try not to cough in your ear while we're going through the show. And we'll hit all the big points. We're going to start things off with a big update on the Booker T and Corey Graves backstage heat issue. So, as people know, Booker T has been replaced by Jonathan Coachman on Raw, and the heat that they're talking about is that Booker T blames Corey Graves for this change. It talks about how he's hitting his bottom line, his money, because he's now being moved to the kickoff shows of the pay-per-views, and he's losing his permanent spot on Raw. Now the word coming out is that this is somewhat of a work. Yes, there is legitimate heat between the two people, but that Booker T, considering the fact that he's running as a mayoral candidate in his hometown, is trying to, help get some heat on Corey Graves to help his character. Because remember, he plays the heel as the heel announcer on the shows, trying to give him the heel heat rub, and at the same time, trying to preserve some of his reputation ahead of his mayoral campaign. He doesn't want to look like a thug coming into that campaign. And one of the statements he made was, if he catches Corey Graves in the street, he's going to do something to him. That's not the kind of image you want your politicians portraying when they're putting out their messages on their different radio programs. So, just an update. It looks like it may be all a work just to try to have, not all a work, because like I said, there is still some real personal issue between the two talents, but this, these back and forth banter on Twitter or whatnot may just be a part of the plan to help get Corey Graves over a little more. In other news, WWE has signed one of their major superstars to a brand new 4-year deal, and that is The Miz. The Miz has signed a 4-year contract extension. He and his wife are getting ready to kick off, their brand new show. They think that it's going to be very positive, the response they're getting from people on the new show. So they want to keep him around. And this is a beautiful thing. You know that you're going to have him around for the foreseeable future. And that's a beautiful thing. He has, in a lot of ways, carried the Raw brand for the better part of a year. I know we have other people who have emerged, like Braun Strowman. We have people like Roman Reigns, who they keep forcing down our throats. But at the end of the day, it's somebody like The Miz who can talk, who could walk, who could wrestle, who could do all those things, incite the anger in the fans and all that is really critical to the success of the program. So congrats to The Miz on his new 4-year deal. I apologize. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The biggest news to me coming out this week is that WWE has actually gotten licensing deals in place with Impact Wrestling for the Broken Universe intellectual property. The purpose of this would be to put together a DVD and one of those WWE 24 specials on the Hardy Boys. And this is not the first time they've done this. They've done deals with places like Ring of Honor and stuff like that in the past, where they get footage from before their career in WWE so that they can use that to kind of lay the whole groundwork. They don't want to create a documentary on somebody and have like a huge segment of their history overlooked, for lack of better terms. So it's amazing to me. They went through all that legal process and fighting and everything last year over this stuff. It gets resolved. Matt Hardy gets control of it, and now you've already got a deal in place for WWE to use that intellectual property. Fascinating, change of trajectory, so to speak, for that whole situation. One of the stories this week that really kind of blows my mind, and I hope WWE's paying attention, is the Rusev Day calendar, available right now on WWE's shop. But the thing that I find fascinating about it is they originally only ordered 2,500 of these calendars, and they sold out almost immediately. This is a shock to WWE. They've ordered 5,000 more calendars, but the Rusev Day calendar, hot commodity on WWE's shop. If you get a chance, grab one. It's hilarious. And I'm loving Rusev right now. I saw even the other day on Twitter, he was blessing a baby for being born on Rusev Day. If you couldn't, you can't always quantify the crowd reaction that somebody gets from a particular audience. But the Philly fans have been known to be very critical and also at times very supportive of the people that they feel deserve to get a push. And Rusev at the Royal Rumble, and Lana, in a lot of ways, as a residual side effect of Rusev, really got great, amazing reactions. I actually thought they may have given him not the United States Championship over Bobby Roode. I think that would have been too fast, but I thought they would have made him look better in his match this week with Bobby Roode on SmackDown. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping this translates into something better for Rusev down the line, because I think they have missed the boat with Rusev for quite a while. There is a new number one contender and challenger for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The championship will be defended at House of Hardcore coming up soon. And Nick Aldis, formerly Magnus, the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion, will defend the championship against Tommy Dreamer. How fascinating that is to me. A guy who was an ECW original, a guy who was there when Shane Douglas threw down the NWA Championship belt. Fast forward all these years, and Tommy Dreamer is one of the guys who's going to be challenging for that championship. If you remember in our last episode, we talked about how Nick Aldis is going on this tour with the 10 pounds of gold, where he's going to be defending the title more than 20 times in 60 days against different people all over the world. Tommy Dreamer will be one of those. So congrats to Tommy Dreamer. I apologize. And Nick Aldis for really putting the NWA Championship in a great, solid place. I think House of Hardcore is a great place to showcase that championship. Seth Rollins in the news this week. He was supposed to be a part of the Elimination Chamber with Jason Jordan, kicking off a feud that the two of them would have leading into WrestleMania. Now, neither of them is on the Chamber card so far, and instead, he's been given a new tag team partner to fill the house shows, which makes you speculate what they're going to be doing going forward with him. He's teaming up with Finn Balor, which I don't like because Finn Balor's doing so well with the club. You know what I'm saying? So, but right now, as things are set, Seth Rollins' new tag team partner is Finn Balor, and he will be working with him in all the rest of the house shows leading up to the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So it's curious for me. I don't know how they're going to work Seth Rollins into the WrestleMania card if they don't start working on something else of interest. And, if the rumors are true that Finn Balor is going to be taking on The Miz for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, and if Triple H is going to be facing The Rock with his wife and with Ronda Rousey, then that leaves Braun Strowman free. I would not be opposed to a Seth Rollins-Braun Strowman feud. That's just me fantasy booking for a moment, but that would not be something that I would be surprised with, and I would be very much in favor of. Another tidbit that came out this week was from Marlena Terry Runnels, she made her return for that one-off at the Raw 25th anniversary show, saying that Vince McMahon, she had approached him with this idea. She's formally married to Dustin Runnels, also known as Goldust, and for many years at the beginning of his WWE run as Goldust, the two of them were paired together. She was his manager and whatnot. They have since had an amicable divorce. They get along very well. And she pitched the idea of walking Goldust to the ring for a match that he was supposed to have at Raw, where he was scheduled to take on Enzo Amore. Now, we all know Enzo got fired that day. Things didn't work out the way they originally planned, but she was very frustrated. They just flat out shot her down with this idea for reuniting with Goldust. And I think she's got a point. Like, they brought in all these people and they did nothing of substance. That would have been something nostalgia-wise that people would have absolutely loved. I saw, by the way, John the Sports Guy put up a Philly quote. We are here in the Philadelphia marketplace, and I'm hoping John the Sports Guy got a chance to go down to the parade today to celebrate the Eagles' World Championship win in the Super Bowl. If not, I didn't get to go either. I'm the first to admit I'm not the biggest Eagles fan in the world. I like players. Fantasy football broke me. I'm not big about teams. I'm more about players. But loving the Carson Wentz, loving the Nick Foles, and many other players on their team too. I did get to see the parade on the television. Fascinating interviews with the guys on the podium later on in the experience. So very cool stuff. So I just want to get that out there because I see him there with the Philly quote. Hideo Itami in the news this week. He's tweeting about how it's over. Cryptic tweets from Hideo Itami. There's been speculation for a better part of a year now that he's unhappy being in WWE and he would like to go back to Pro Wrestling Noah, where he was very successful as Kenta. And, I don't know if that's his actual plan or if this is just some random tweet that really doesn't have any deeper meaning. Maybe we're reading too much into it. But either way, it's kind of frustrating. Like, the Cruiserweight brand seemed like they were picking up some momentum. Then you leave it to what's-his-name to screw the whole thing up for everybody, Enzo. And now we're just kind of waiting to see what they do with the brand. It's really frustrating. All right, so the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I'm going to tell you up front, this annoys the snot out of me. They're talking about having a women's battle royal. What? I get the whole women's revolution thing. I do. But really? We had a Royal Rumble. We don't need a battle royal also. In addition, they're talking about making it a main roster, a main show attraction. Historically, it's been on the pre-show. I'm actually in favor of that. They want to push that because of the Andre the Giant documentary that's coming out on HBO and hopefully foster that relationship with HBO so they can do future projects together. It would be very cool. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. No discussion about how that's going to be booked yet, but I think they've done an excellent job with that every year so far that it's been out there. I'm not a huge fan of Mojo Rawley winning it last year, but otherwise I've actually liked what they've done with it. So it's very interesting to see what happens going forward. Tonight, the big news is there's a new announce team on Impact Wrestling. Jeremy Borash left the company, he signed with WWE. It was a Triple H signing, and now you had to wonder, what are they going to do for the commentators? Well, they dubbed over using Josh Matthews, who has already been an announcer, and Sanjay Dutt, who is out because of an ACL injury. He is now on commentary. He's also part of the creative team, the writing team. Good for him. I'm thrilled to see he has more to offer than just in-ring talent. Man, it's one of those days. There is an update on the Jason Jordan injury. He had neck surgery this week. He will be out. We don't know how much time. I'm sure it's not going to be a quick in and out type of thing. They're saying that the match with Seth Rollins is not off the table for WrestleMania, but it is definitely up in the air and very much in question. I have heard estimates of up to a year or 16 months for him to be out. I've heard other ones that he'll only be out 2 to 3 months. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it's really a shame because I felt like talent-wise, he really did look a lot like a young Kurt Angle. He had everything going for him, just like Kurt Angle. So it's really a shame that this all came down all at this time. It's really, you couldn't ask for worse timing. He was really picking up some momentum. Bobby Roode looks like he may have his opponent for Fastlane for the United States Championship. It looks like Randy Orton is looking like they're going to peg him to be the next challenger. I'm actually okay with that. I'm very much in favor of that. I think Randy Orton needs to stay out of the World Championship picture for an extended period of time. He's been in it too much in the last couple of years. This gives him an opportunity to work with somebody he's never worked with before, put on a match. I'm not going to say one of those diehard dream matches, but certainly a match we haven't seen. So to be curious how they book that. But I'm looking forward to the match. And I think the two of them, their technical skill will put on a clinic. It should be amazing. I found this to be so out of whack this week. Sheldon Benjamin, I'm sure some of you know, posted on Twitter that he was driving around a rental car for 4 days and had no idea that there was a loaded pistol in the glove box. Can you imagine if he got a random stop or something, somebody checked the glove box and found that? His whole, way of life, freedom and jail time and everything could have been up in the air for something that had nothing at all to do with him. Bizarre story. I just wonder who the heck left a gun in the glove box. They must be kicking themselves right now. I'm going to be honest. I have a real tough time with SmackDown's top 10 this week. And here's why. You've got AJ Styles defending the World Heavyweight Championship for the second month in a row going into the Fastlane pay-per-view against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. AJ Styles is ranked number 1 in the top 10, which I'm fine with. But Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn nowhere on the top 10 list. How could you be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship and not be on the list, but somebody like the Viper, Randy Orton, who's not even the United States champion, challenging for that, is rated ahead of you? That doesn't make even a little bit of sense, and it makes the whole thing, 1, a work, 2, horribly booked, and 3, just nonsensical. I have a real problem with this SmackDown Live top 10. Absolutely bizarre. Hate the whole idea of it. The only thing I think looks obvious is they're going to really push this New Day going over the Usos thing, which has been done to death. The Usos need to lose the belt to somebody else so New Day can take the belts back if that's what WWE wants to do, but they need to stay as far away from those two teams getting together again as they can, at least for the foreseeable future. We just came out of that feud. Let it go for a while. It's just my opinion. There has been a major change to the 205 Live show. It has been under creative control of Vince McMahon for the better part of 9 months, and now he has turned over creative control to Triple H as of 2 weeks ago, and you can already see some dramatic changes coming to the 205 Live show. It is much more organic, a lot like the Cruiserweight Classic was. He's taken that approach a lot like NXT is, and I think that's only a good thing. It's almost like an extension of NXT in some weird, strange way, which I think is a very good thing because it gets like a TV deal for that type of product. Something we really could use. I actually wish they would bolster the roster a little bit. Slide, Ty Dillinger over there. I don't know why he's in the top 10 on that SmackDown list, by the way. He hasn't been on TV in 2 months, and you still have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens not on the list at all. I'm just venting a little bit more. Austin Aries discussed his contract situation with Impact Wrestling. He is not under a written contract for long-term matches. He has a per date appearance deal. It's for a certain number of dates, and I don't know. I think that's dangerous if you're Impact Wrestling. You need to lock your guys up, especially somebody who's going to be carrying your world championship. Lock this guy up in a long-term contract. Give him something serviceable to do. He was thrilled that he's not restricted to only doing Impact Wrestling matches, which is a good thing. But at the end of the day, you're taking a big risk when you let your world champion walk, almost like Enzo when he got fired with the Cruiserweight title. It makes that championship seem less relevant. It's just my opinion. But in the short term, Austin Aries is only on a specific number of appearance contracts, so we'll have to see how long that looks. I see John the Sports Guy put up that it looks like WWE is trying to do rankings for SmackDown like UFC and boxing. I get that, but I still don't understand why Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens wouldn't be in there. That doesn't make any sense to me. It really blows my mind that they're not included. They're your number 1 draw for the next pay-per-view. So how can they not be in there? That doesn't make even a little bit of sense to me. The last line for the night, Dolph Ziggler returning next week on SmackDown. He'll be there to take on Baron Corbin. And the big news today is, and I got this after I already had published to the website, is that the winner of that match will be added to the World Championship match at Fastlane, which is a fascinating twist of fate there. I hate to see him lose more. But hey, I mean, I'm not the one booking this stuff, so whatever. They can make it work whatever they can. I think if you have him get into that match and not win, you're kind of burying his character. You obviously have to have him beat Baron Corbin, who's been on a losing streak for quite a while. So that seems like that's a foregone conclusion. So then, how do you book that coming out of that pay-per-view? And you still got to get Nakamura into the picture for WrestleMania. Very bizarre that they're going to add someone to that match. I'm not a big fan of that booking. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We'll run down all the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks as always out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing all our music and sound effects used in today's show. Today's podcast is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side of this new game from Beazle Games by going to www.frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen. And AlleyRepair.com. Contact Alley Repair today for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. You know, guys, I got to tell you, I love y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're looking for your next career move or considering college, university life, or just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to the website frolifeplanning.com for all the higher education needs you got, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with me tonight. If you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, go to www.sportsjunkies101.com for the latest articles on the world of pro wrestling. Till next time, take care, everybody.